we're going to kind of launch into one of our first game plans here. And so if you can, go ahead and unmute yourself. I think we're unmuting you as well. Let's see if we can connect. How are you doing?
Very good. How about yourself, Kris?
Hey, great to connect with you. Where do you live in the world?
South Florida, Miami.
I love that, brother. Dude, I have friends in Miami. They own a penthouse there, sold their company for $1.6 billion. And we work with their foundation and my foundation. And so we go down there a couple times a year. We're going down this fall. And Miami's a beautiful part of the world.
Absolutely. Every day's paradise.
I love it. All right. Let me ask you, would you like to do our very first game plan tonight and dive into your personal finances and kind of share with you some different thoughts and ideas on real estate?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. I am going to share the information that you put in here and I'm going to drill down a little deeper. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. Awesome. So first of all, you're in sales making about $175,000 a year. Is that right?
Correct.
Good. Let's drop a little bit into what's going down in your house. I see that the value of your home is around $900,000 and you owe about $395,000.
Correct.
My first question is, do you have a home equity line of credit on your house?
No, I don't.
Okay. So there's some things that I'm going to have you kind of write down here. A bank's going to allow you to go up to safely about 80% of the value of your home, which is going to be around $720,000 from $400,000. So there's probably at least $300,000 line of credit that you could technically get on your house. It doesn't cost money. It's free. And let me ask you, are you married?
Yes.
So often one spouse is more aggressive, one is a little more conservative, and sometimes the more conservative one, they almost always want the same thing. They want their house paid off. Am I wrong?
Absolutely. You're 1,000% correct.
Yeah, and I understand that. But I always believe in paying things off only after we've achieved a passive income greater than our ideal lifestyle, which means I don't have to work anymore. And so I'm just taking note that there's about $300,000 there. Tell me a little bit about savings, 401k, IRAs, stocks. Can you be specific on what you have in any of those accounts?
401k, it's over 1.3, 1.4 million. Okay. My wife has an IRA self-directed, about 35, 40,000 in there. There's some stocks, maybe another $20,000, $30,000 in stocks.
Perfect. Okay, so right now, first of all, it looks like you've contributed massively to your 401k. Is that right?
Yes.
Is any part of that rollover from a previous 401k?
I've only had one job. I've only had this one job, and I've been there for 27 years. Never another job.
I love it. And do you love it?
I love it. I love it. Sales. I mean, it's a Fortune 50 company. It's for Cisco Food Services. I've been there for 27 years.
And my curiosity is, do you have goals on when you'd like to be able to retire?
Well, I've already spoken to Tyler a couple of times. I think we talked about a month ago, and okay. I'm on a 5-year run. I need to be out completely in 5 years. That's why you became so important to me, finding out more about how to get these returns and how to really step up, because I'm almost to the end of this whole game already.
Yes. Let me ask you, on your 401k, have you explored with your human resources department if you're able to take out some kind of loan against your 401k or access any of it?
Yeah, only 50,000.
Okay. So there's a couple of thoughts that I'm going to give you here. The first one is, does your company love you enough that if you quit, that they would rehire you back?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. The reason why I'm asking is because, and I want everyone to understand this, your 401k, if it's a rollover, you have freedom of what you can do with it. If it's from current employment, it's sitting in jail until you leave your company. And so in your situation, you could actually ask, I want you to write down this term, Arsenio, I want you to write down the term in-service distribution. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to HR and I want you to say, hey, do you guys allow in-service distributions? And the reason why you use that specific phrasing is they might say, no, you can't touch your money, but yes, you can do an in-service distribution. And so what that does is that may allow you to actually free up some of your 401k. The reason why that's really important is if you take a look at $1.3 million, when I look at that, that's a total of, if it's $50,000 per home, that's a total of 26 homes. Now, obviously you're not going to go 100% all in on real estate, but what I can tell you is that if you transition your assets of a 401k, if you put that into real estate on 26 homes, if we were earning, whether it's 25 or 34%, I can tell you that that is going to multiply very aggressively. So let's just say, for example, I'm continuing to average my 34% for the next 5 years when you want to be out. That means that there's enough time for your money to double and almost double again. So if 1.3, for example, in 5 years becomes $3 million, that's where my math puts it right around. Then all of a sudden, $3 million, I know that your current income is $175,000 a year. The question is, when you retire in 5 years, do you want to live off of that same level of income? Is there a certain financial goal that you want to, of money that you want to have when that day comes?
Oh, I want to double my income, at least 250,000, at least.
Yeah. So if you want $250,000, then there's a couple of things for you to consider. The first one is getting in on real estate at that 34% ROI is going to start doing some of that for you. I also have a private investors club. And my investors club is for what's called accredited investors. It's generally for people that have a total net worth of $1 million on up. I sometimes make exceptions with people with less. And we do what's called asymmetric investment. And every year I basically select 10 companies that have $1 billion plus potential. And over the next 5 years, we want to see if we can get 2 or 3 of them to hit those targets, and the rest of them won't. And so I've been running this club now for a couple of years, and we're sitting on monster-sized opportunities. And so a little bit of diversification, $100,000 or $200,000 self-directed sitting in there, means that, okay, I've got the majority of my money in real estate conservatively producing these high ROIs. And then I have a little bit of money sitting in the higher upside stuff for what I call moonshots. Because as a couple of these companies, when a small investment is made into the fund, if 2 of these companies take off, then the rest could literally go to zero, and you could still 20x your money, you could 50x your money, you could do something aggressive like that. And that's what puts you in the position where it's like, oh, I added another $2, $3, or $4 million with maybe a couple $100,000. And so now you're sitting on some diversification. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, that's what he recommended me to take a look at it. He already sent me the video of you explaining that.
Okay. Then between what you have in the stock market and the self-directed IRA, there's $55,000 there. That's an easy house that you can take down. And if your 401k keeps you in jail until you leave the company, and if you can't find a creative way to get it out, then I would absolutely access the equity in your home. Otherwise, your hands are tied, because almost all of that money is sitting in that 401k. And instead, that $300,000, when I look at that, here's what I see. I see 6 homes. And 6 homes is enough for me to get off to the races. And so the other question that I want to ask is, do you feel like it sounds like you guys are saving money and not living check to check.
No, believe it or not, we're check to check.
Yeah, so that $300,000, if you take that out on a home equity line of credit, you're going to get an increased mortgage. But then we're looking for the positive cash flow on the real estate to offset that. Or if you just want to cover the balance, just let real estate take off and do its thing. And so safely for your game plan, there's about 7 homes, maybe 8 homes worth of money. There's $50,000 from the 401k. There between the IRA and stocks, there's a second home. There's 6 in the home equity. That's a total of 8 homes that you can do before you actually get to your 401k. But for me, if you had a way of getting to the 401k, that's going to be your fastest option. Ask for in-service distribution, or number 2. Find out what would happen if you have a relationship with your company. If you're like, I think I'm going to leave and walk, and then next month, 2 weeks later, they rehire you, your 401k comes out of jail. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. On the home equity line, have you heard of anything about this new home equity? It's no longer home equity. It's an agreement where you no longer have to pay the monthly on it. I think you have like 10 years to repay it back. It's like a balloon payment.
Yeah, they do have balloon payments. They have ARMs. They have different types of options on those. There are some people that will literally not make the payment and just actually have it go against the mortgage. So you do have some options on what you can do. And for 10 years, we're looking at spending 5 to 7 max years in the market. So that 10-year balloon, I think, becomes a very, very real option.
Yeah, you don't have anybody who's doing that yet, who's done it?
We do. I have so many partners. We've done all sorts of different type of mortgages and deals that are all customized to a person's situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I was looking into that for that reason to get to the equity line without putting the pressure of having the monthly payments.
I totally get it, brother. Arsenio, do you have any other questions for me on this? And what I want to invite everyone else to do real quick, I need you to do me a favor, hop in the chat. And if you have a question on Arsenio's situation for you, out of curiosity, like, why did you say this? Or what does that mean? Or how do you this? I want you to drop that in the chat as well. That's also super, super helpful. Arsenio, do you have any other questions on this game plan that we're talking about?
No, I mean, you broke it down pretty easily to go at it. I mean, worst case scenario, 6 to 8 houses. If we can tap into the other stuff, if I can get my Now, would I go to Cisco directly, or do I go to my Fidelity account where my account is for my 401k? Who would answer that question for me?
Cisco's going to go to your Fidelity account manager. So either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing I will share with you, since it looks like the last month you've been reviewing the possibility of partnership, the one thing that you'll hear tonight that you're just not going to hear otherwise is that in your situation, even if you can't touch the 401k, buying 8 homes, you're in a position for that pro partner level that we have at that 20% discount, and it's a 70-30 split instead of a 50-50, which, even based on 5 homes, that's almost an extra $10 million that pushes from my earnings to your side. So I think you got some really smart timing on your side if this is a yes for you.
Another question I have, Kris, on, I guess, after we purchase the house, we get everything organized and all that, how does the cash flow happen? Does that go like you have an option to take the cash flow, or you have the option to leave the cash flow? How does that work?
You have an option for both. You're the partner. So once we set up the LLC, we just basically set up, we normally like to do, if we do distributions, we like to do them quarterly. That's just kind of a little bit easier on the accounting team to do it 4 times a year. But we're very, very customizable because it's our partnership.
And who makes that call? You make the call or I make the call?
You make the call.
Got it.
Yeah. So in the partnership, I've got so much real estate coming out of my ears. My philosophy is to be a good partner. And that means that if you have a preference, if I think it's a bad idea, I will speak up and say something. But other than that, I let you have the final say on matters like that.
Have you done the comparison on people taking the cash flow instead of just leaving it, let it grow faster?
So we have, and most people do like to leave it in to accelerate the growth and compound it, because our whole game is about compounding money at really high ROIs. But everyone has different needs. And so it's not always a question of what makes the most money. Sometimes it's what creates the most financial peace in the home.
Got it.
All right. All right, can everyone do me a favor and give Arsenio a huge round of applause? Thank you, brother man. Thank you for coming on, and man, you're in a good spot. Go ahead, Ethan.
Kris, real quick. So Todd Dildy asked, whose name is the LLC in?
Yeah, so the LLC is actually a partnership between you and I. So normally it would say 50-50 in the operating agreement, but based on tonight, you might be stepping into a more advantageous split. It's not word that I can get out to any of my other partners because they've been with me for a long time and they would not like that very much. But we reserve the right to do these promotions and checking all that out. So when we set up the LLC together, a name will be formed. We'll actually set it up. We'll handle all the legal, and it'll be co-owned by the 2 of us based on our percentage of ownership. And that's what will be the holding tank when we buy real estate to put in the business. Todd, really good question there. Thank you. All right. How many do we have on the Zoom right now? I just want to see if Xavier has been able to get all of our new friends.
Yeah, it looks like we got about 15 people in.
Okay, so we got them still coming in. And do we have all of these printed off? Okay, perfect. Let's answer a couple more questions. Do you guys have more questions on Arsenio's situation? And then I want to do some more game plans with those of you that are here. If you got one, just drop it in the chat. Would love to hear. And then I'm gonna kind of rifle through this. Also drop in the chat if you're interested in actually getting your personal game plan next. Let me know if that's something interesting to you. Just drop that in the chat, and we're gonna race through these and find them out.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Kris. So would we be holding on to each home we purchase for 20 years to benefit on the full ROI?
Yeah, we will not hold the home for 20 years. The single best strategy is to hold a home generally for 3, 5, or 7 years. And I want to explain this. If you hold a home for 10 years, you're going to get enough of that home paid off, and it's going to have a grown enough in appreciation that your home is going to be well over half paid off. Guys, that is not the goal. We do not want paid off real estate. That's actually really bad. What we want instead is to control real estate. And so, for example, if you said, hey, Kris, there's $200,000 sitting in this home. Do you think we should just hold it longer and work towards getting it paid off, or would you rather trade it for 4 homes? Friends, show me with your cameras on with your fingers. Do you want 1 home or 4? More is more better. That's not always true. Thank you very much. You guys are so smart. Yes, more homes is more better. So we are not going to hold that home for 20 years. We're going to hold it only as long as it takes before it gets 30, 40, maybe 50% paid off, and then boom. We're either going to hold it, refinance it, and buy more homes, or if we're shifting markets, we're going to sell it, 1031 exchange, we're going to buy more. On Wednesday, we're going to go deep into how we navigate the whole tax thing, because you get so rich in this game, but you never have to pay taxes. And after Wednesday, you're going to feel like a really smart mini accountant. You're going to feel smarter than your accountant when you learn the strategies that I'm going to be teaching you here. I know what you're thinking. Not fair. I want to get a game plan too. I got news for you. It's your lucky day. I'm gonna give you a game plan for free too. All you gotta do is click the link below, request a free game plan, let me hook you up.